Good morning, United Kingdom, and we're back to another drive time session with Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, or the business of property fixer. Unfortunately, I think he's also still stuck fighting or helping the fight in supporting people. So he's going to be busy. He's got lots of important things to do. But we do have our guest on today, Norma. Who we had on last week, is that right? Did we have her on last week? Excellent. We had Norma on last week, and we will continue our conversation with building your business through networking. And it's important to understand why that topic has come around again, because it's very important for anybody wanting to set up their business empire in the RAC model, the Rescue Associate model, which is something that Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, is running, that he sets up the, you set it up, but you can actually build your business by using networking. And what does networking mean? Using social media and using your telephone skills to build up your team and create your pipeline of business. So networking is an important tool, and you don't need to network by going to functions. Events obviously are closed at the moment, but there are lots of clever ways of networking. And we're going to have Mrs. Is it Norman Norms? Norms, that's right. Normie Norms, a young lady who's gone through a lot of trauma in her early life, but she's also a strong lady. She's come out and definitely made a name for herself. And I remember we spoke to her last week, and she literally created a group network with hardly any effort, and she was quite surprised herself to the extent that the people who she was working with, I think she was into bit trading, that's right. People who she was working with, she had to call them, and she was overwhelmed by the response she got, support she got from lots of different people across the country, which is excellent. Now, the topic of this week is the topic of the week is you are stronger than your excuses. What that means, we'll ask Normie Nodes. Right, is she here? Excellent. We'll have her on straight away because we don't have our prime guest or prime. We got Normie Nodes on. Good morning, Normie. How are you doing?
I'm good, and it's Normie Rose.
Normie Rose. I don't know whether there's a couple of copies. It is Rose, please.
Oh, yeah.
I apologize for that. I've been told correctly. My ears are playing up. Okay, Normie Rose. Right, Normie. So we lightly covered lots of, little bits, obviously, of your personal experiences, traumas, etc., etc. Yeah. We went on to you literally landing on your feet, I would say, in some respects, in the networking. I would say it's a networking, social media networking arena, in terms of that was your foundation of getting so many people together. And if I'm not wrong, you are presently, or at that time when you first started back in 2000, I think, was it 18 or 19?
17.
19, that's right.
No,
17, yeah. But then you started sort of like picking up on it, and it's been literally social media, isn't it? Marketing and networking, is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Excellent. And you've got a humongous following, I think. Is it around 15,000, is it?
Probably more.
A bit more than that. How much is it?
The biggest team I built was around just over 11,000.
11,000. Excellent.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And in total, you've got is it a bigger team than that?
Yeah.
You've got different groups or different
Yeah.
services that you've got groups. So what's the total number? What's your total?
It's probably around the same, because I'm doing far more things than I was doing back then. I'm doing 3 or 4 projects now, so obviously accumulated, it probably will be around the same or maybe more. I'm not, to be honest,
on each project.
Yeah, as an accumulation, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you do it? Do you open up different pages on each one? Do you on your main account? How do you do it?
It's basically, it's all about, with me, it's all about relationship building. People.
It's a lot of people, 11,000 people. How do you get to build relationship with 11,000 people? It's a lot of relations, isn't it?
11,000 aren't my directs. How it works is like, obviously I probably have around 100 directs, and then you have people.
Okay, and then it's like it's a bit of a chain, is it?
It's a team building thing. So obviously people will then come in. It's a bit of a ripple effect, and all of a sudden you just find that your teams are growing and getting bigger and bigger. And I have teams now, obviously all over the world. So I have Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, I have South Africa.
Oh, so you speak Japanese as well?
I try. Not really, but no, probably just what I know from the Karate Kid. But that's
what do you know then?
What
do you know in Japanese?
Konnichiwa, yeah, which means hello.
Konnichiwa. Good. That's good. So you know how to speak Japanese, and what else?
That's it. That's probably it.
That's it. Okay, so konnichiwa. Okay, good. Excellent. Okay, so next time we have you on, we'll try and to play around with your Japanese.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay, so the topic obviously relates around your abilities and skills and things you've learned. And I think some of these things happen just by pure chance at the beginning, but you probably now started to refine them. So the question was, do you open up different pages for each type of different business that you're doing? Do you have different accounts for them? How are you doing it?
So you about all your businesses, or you do post separate posts for your businesses, just all under one page. What I find with social media,
on the same page,
on the same personal page. I've never had a second or a third Facebook
account
or Instagram profile or LinkedIn profile. I've only ever had one. And what I find with social media is people don't want to know you because of your business. They want to know you. They want to know. So the fact, the reason why so many obviously people warm to me is because I show me. I don't show my business. I show me and my lifestyle, what I'm doing, where I'm going, where I'm eating, what I'm doing at home, what I'm cooking, where I'm traveling to.
Are you saying Facebook? I mean, are you saying social media is a bit of a voyeuristic tool? If they get to know what's going on in your personal space or in your day-to-day routine, they're more interested in you. Is that the way it works?
Yeah, because basically people want to join you not because of your products, not because of your business, not because of what you're selling. It's because of your lifestyle, right? And I know
your lifestyle.
Yeah, I know that sounds funny, but I've had people come to me and say, Normie, right, how do you manage to build such a big team and all the rest of it? And I just, right, okay, let me look at your profile. And I've looked at her or his profile, and within a couple of minutes I already know what the issue is. And now if you have a profile where you're just doing business post, business post, business post, business post, me as a person, I'm gonna click off really easily from your profile, because I'm gonna find you boring. Right?
So is it okay? A quick question then. Okay, this is important. Okay, this is why we got you on, because you've got a lot of experience, and I think you transmit a lot of open knowledge. I think a lot of people who are watching us, who've got an interest in becoming an RAC, want to build their business at home whilst the lockdown is still in, before the 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 furlough scheme finishes, etc., they are actually asking, how do we do that? Because we don't have a big following. We just got our personal friends and a couple of sort of like what's it now? External friends, and the personal friends are mainly family and birthdays and get-togethers and all that. And that's all we're doing.
Yeah.
And how do we get past that? And what you're saying is, effectively, you check their personal profile out to see what type of person they are. Is that right?
Yeah. Because
okay, but how do you
always remember one thing: people will join people. They won't join your company. They're joining you.
Okay. Good
They're not
advice.
your company, and they're not joining your product. They're joining you. They're joining you because of what you are showing them, and because of what you are showing them, and they wanting the same thing, they will join you.
They want the same thing. So is that okay? It's a bit of a different way of looking at it. So are you saying that they look at your lifestyle, what you are doing, what you have, and then they want to be like you? It's a bit like being a celebrity. Is that right?
Yeah, I could I wouldn't say it's a celebrity. It's just basically people wanting something better for themselves, and they see somebody out there who's actually living their life, right, that they want. Because some people, they don't have any idea of where to start. It's like me, like, okay, so when I was doing my modeling, right, back in, I don't know, 2014, right, I had a model reach out to me and say, right, you do know you could be a model. And I just laughed it off, and I basically said, are you having a laugh? Number one, okay, fine, you're saying this, but number two, I wouldn't know where to start. So it's a bit like that, right? So it's like I say, and I say this every day, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Unfortunately, in this day and age, that's the way it is. People are
Okay, are you saying then it's a bit of a shortcut then? They want to see what you're doing, who you're mixing with, how you're mixing,
yeah,
and they want to use that as a shortcut to getting to where you're at. So is it less knowledge based? Is it more gratification? Is that what you're saying?
no, it's the same thing as you. You are out there, you are showing them a better lifestyle, a better way of making money, or the lifestyle that they want, and them wanting the same thing. So they know that you know how to do it. So because you're doing it, and because you know that, they will then connect with you, right? It's the same with the model thing. So she's out there and she's doing it. She wanted me to do it, or she thought I'd be good at it, and she's the one obviously then hooked me up with my first project or first assignment.
Okay. So what was your first project then?
Oh, on the modelling front, you mean? I had to. I was called down to London, and I had this person this photographer. He was more an artist, really. He was an artist stroke photographer, and obviously he wanted to do like all these different looks. So he wanted a natural look, and then he wanted a futuristic look. He wanted a glamorous look, and then a 1950s look. So I had to then go down, and obviously there was a makeup artist there, and she did all these different looks on me. And then he then obviously I went into the studio, took loads of pictures, and it's all on his page. So it's part of his profile. So that was my first, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I thought it was a bit of a hoax. I thought, oh, she's having me on. But I actually went down. I did this project with this photographer guy, and I got paid, and I was really shocked. I thought, oh my God, and that was it. That's the first one. The first bit is always the hardest, and once you're in and you know what you're doing, it gets easier.
So have you continued the modeling side?
Not really, no.
Okay, so why do you, I mean, you're saying it worked and it was,
Yeah, I did it for about
surprising.
Yeah, I did it for about 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, so up until 2019. So I started it was 2014 I started, so I did it up to 2019.
5 years, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
that's when you finished.
Yeah.
So why did you finish the modeling side then? Was it too demanding? Was it not
No,
paying well enough?
Went into lockdown, and then after that, obviously the assignments obviously stopped because of COVID, and then as you do, you're at home and you put a little bit of weight on, so right, because of thing. And then I probably will get back to it. I mean, I've got a beauty pageant coming up in July, and I need to lose weight for that, so it's fine. I'll probably eventually get back to it, but just not at the moment, because I'm
okay, great.
fixating
So
on
so you okay, so you did so okay, the point is what you're saying is people will effectively follow you because they like what they see, what you're doing. Okay, so it's more important. So anybody in social media needs to show people what they're doing. But how would you inspire? I mean, you got the issue of people who are locked indoors, haven't got the personality or the nouns that you've got. They've sort of like maybe a bit more introvert, probably aren't that extrovert, can't really, because they probably think, someone who's an ex-model quite much extrovert, they probably, think that, you're still quite much outgoing, but they wouldn't be able to do that. They're normal, maybe 9 to 5ers, secretaries, PAs, office managers, or housewives, but they need to get into business. How do they start their networking? I mean, are you saying they need to just put out a bit more on their personal life and what they're doing in terms of their routine? Will that attract people towards them?
Like I said, that social media is the way to go. We don't have any choice. That Zooms and StreamYard meetings is the way to go. Again, we don't have any choice about that. We've been put into that. We didn't have a choice about it. We are now having to conduct virtual events, via Zoom and Facebook. Whereas before we had like actual events where we went to, and I'm speaking now more on virtual events, which I have been doing for the last year, whereas before I used to actually go to an event, get up on stage and speak, but now I'm doing it virtually. And that's just the way it is. And obviously, like I said, change is hard, but change is important. And at the same time, it's a bit like even the 9 to 5ers, right? If you went to work and your boss turned around and said, right, we're revamping the whole system, right, we're going to now be using this system, we're not going to be using that system, they can't moan and groan and say, oh no, I'm sorry, we're not going to use it, right? Because at the end of the day, they'll get sacked. They have to adapt. They have to start now using the same system. It's the same with this.
Okay, but
yeah, you have to adapt to change, and life is. And if one thing I will say about the pandemic, yeah, one thing I will say about
but people who are in it, what you've got to understand is normal people who are in a 9 to 5 work, who follow processes and systems, and they go through their own understanding of what they do through the office, so they don't really think for themselves. They don't have initiative. They're just being taught to do something in a certain way. They aren't going to moan and groan about the change in the system, but they're not taking the decision themselves. This is the difference.
But then that's
how do they do that? How do we get people motivated that they've got to take that decision? What is it that happened to you that you were able to, take that decision? Because they're going to be looking towards you and they want to know, how does that happen? Because 9 to 5 are a bit like sheep. They really don't have the ability to think left and right. They really are stuck in a very narrow tunnel of doing their job in the way that they've been taught. So they won't change the system themselves. The metaphor is that the system is being changed for them, but how are they going to change their working style and use networking to build a business or build a group? How are you best going to be able to give them some advice today?
So basically, like I said before, in 2017, I had found myself in a position. Yeah. And I was used to the 9 to 5. I was used to the set hours. I was used to all that. But I understood in 2017, because I found myself in a position where I had no money, that something change. Okay? Because clearly, whatever I've been doing up until now isn't working. It worked for a bit, and then I'm back at square one. It works for a bit, and then I'm back at square one. And I understood from that experience, because being rock bottom, you can't be anymore. The only way is up, right? When
that's right. Yeah, that's the way a positive person looks at it. Yes.
So I understood that the real change is in here. You have to change what's in here for you to then change your life. You have to change your mindset, change your mindset, change your life, right? And I understood that. And that's why I got into personal development back then. I started listening to videos. I started listening to Tony Robbins. I started listening to Les Brown. I started listening to Eric Thomas. And I understood that something needs to change, right? That's why I started going to these personal development events. Whether you can go to a personal development event online. You don't have to go to a physical event. You can listen to videos online, right? So all these people who are obviously being programmed from birth, right? That you go to work, you do your 9 to 5 or whatever hours it is that you do, and you get paid, right? One thing I will say about the pandemic, right? If the pandemic has not taught you that you can make money online, you've learned nothing.
Excellent. That's the type of thing I want. Yeah. That's the type of thing that really is poignant, because it sort of underlines the change that's happening externally, and the fact that anybody who's still asleep with their blinkers on is really not learning from what's happening around them. They're actually stuck inside their little element. And they've not realized that, yes, if you've not learned from lockdown that they've got to use social media to make money while they're at home, they're never going to learn. Is that what you're really saying? Yes?
Yeah. Because basically, there is so many ways to make money online. And from what I've seen in the past year, and so many people losing their jobs, and so many people being on furlough, and so many people losing their businesses, right? There are so many ways to make money online. You still haven't gone out there and researched it and looked at it and done it, then I'm not going to say God help you, but God help you, right? Because I still know people today, and they've learned nothing from lockdown. They're still actually actively looking for a job, and they've already lost their job last year because they were made redundant or whatever. And they're still looking for another job. They still haven't learned. And they say ignorance is bliss. Yeah, of course it is. If you want to stay ignorant to what's going around in the world, and you don't want to learn, because some people won't want to learn, because they're so used to their certain way of life, right? I mean, I've even had people come to me saying, oh, how can I make money without investing anything? And I was like, you can't. Straight answer, you can't. Whether you're going to uni, right, that's investing in yourself. You're still paying for that. Whether you go to, you're still paying for that. Whether you do an online course, you're still paying for that. So why are there still people out there who think they can make money from investing nothing? Whether you
and I think if we're going to be a bit more philosophical about it, I think investing is your time as well, isn't it? Your time is an investment, even if you don't have hard cash. The fact is, you're going to take time out to watch the videos and watch the information. If there is free information out there as to how to use social media, because the issue is a lot of people say we don't even know how to use social media. Well, there's enough information out there, free online, as to how to start using it. It's a simple thing. And you're right, investment in money and time. Time is also an investment. If you take, we're doing an hour show now. This is 1 hour you're taking out of your day to day to inspire people, for them to listen to you, to see you in an interview, to see Miss Rose at her best, telling everyone how it's possible. Can you? I mean, I would find it wholly inspiring to know somebody who says, well, she was at rock bottom. She's got three boys, is it?
3 boys, yeah.
Boys, and the eldest being one of special needs, and I think in more than one way, because they may have different aptitudes, and they all want a different level of time of commitment from you. And really, when you look at that and you think, wow, must have been really frightening. But yet, can you imagine someone who's literally got nothing left in the bank, and yet they are out there doing something, and and then they've created a business out of thin air, in terms of in real terms. Time is also part of it, spending time. Okay, continue, Normie. So continue with that.
One thing I learned from Tony Robbins, 2 things I learned from Tony Robbins back in 2017 when I started listening to his videos. It's never about your circumstances. Number one, it's never circumstance, it's how you react to it. Okay, that's number one. Number 2 is it's never about your resources, it's about how resourceful you are. Okay, and then also 3 as well, right? Knowledge.
So the first thing is never about what?
It's never about your circumstances, it's how you react. Number 1. It's never about the resources available, it's about how resourceful you are.
Excellent.
Right? And number 3 is knowledge is power. If you know what if you know what to do with it. Right? And I learned that. I mean, it's basically around this time 4 years ago that I went to UPW, which is Unleash the Power Within, Tony Robbins, 4 days in London.
Unleash Power Within. What's it called?
UPW.
UPW. Unleash the Power Within. I like that. Yes.
And I always say to everybody should do Tony Robbins at least once in their life, or if it's not Tony Robbins, some sort of whether it's Grant Cardone, Les Brown, or whoever it is, Bob Proctor, and there's so many out there, right? Always go to one of their events at least once in your life. Yeah, I mean, I'll be going to Tony Robbins again very soon when his live events open. I'll be going again, right? Because
how many people go to his live events? How many is it? A couple of hundred? A couple of thousand? What?
London 2017 was 10,000. 11,000.
10,000. 11,000. It's a bit of a superstar, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And always say to everybody is everybody should do Tony Robbins at least once in their life, or if it's not Tony Robbins, some sort of whether it's Grant Cardone, Les Brown, or whoever it is, Bob Proctor, and there's so many out there, right?
What is it about Tony Robbins? I mean, what does he say that really, energizes you or motivates you?
He's over 60 years old, right? He stood on that stage from 12
Mm.
to 10 o'clock at night. So a good 10 hours. Didn't leave the stage once. Not even for
Wow.
that's motivation. He didn't even leave for even a toilet break, and he just went on for 10.
He went on the stage. He went
Yeah,
to
came on at
all
12,
of it.
and he kept going for 10 hours.
10 hours, and he didn't go for a natural break of nature at all,
No.
but he stayed on the stage for 10 hours.
Yeah. Didn't even go.
That is impressive. It's not
Yeah.
just motivational, it's impressive.
He didn't even go off to have food. He had water. He had a water bottle which he had on the stage, and that was it. That's what he had for 10 hours. So you can just imagine his perseverance, his just his dedication, the way he's obviously his body's built. He's over 60 now. I think he's 63, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just had a child as well, which is really odd. He's just had a child.
It's still like a child.
Just had a child, yeah. He just had a
Oh,
child.
you just had a child. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Is that a bit like that movie? What's his name with Arnold Schwarzenegger? He gets pregnant. Like that, you mean, or was it he
Oh,
had a
he's
wife
not.
had a child?
He's had a child with his wife, but he's had it. They've had it now.
They had a child. Okay, that's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, everything is working. That's important. Everything works, and he's got a lot of energy, which is excellent. It's excellent motivation because 63.
I'm live events. I love the live events more than anything because I'm an introvert and I like to mingle with people and I like human interaction. And any of these virtual events that he ran, I didn't really partake. For me, it didn't do anything for me. These virtual events didn't do anything for me. But I understood the importance of it because obviously we're in a pandemic, right? Now, because we're in a pandemic, and I give kudos to all of these coaches out there who are giving free content. Well done, right? You understood that we were living in a time when people didn't have a lot of money, right? People were losing jobs, people were losing their businesses, they didn't have a lot of money out there, and obviously you're offering free free sessions and free courses and free whatever, which is great. I absolutely love that, right? And and that's what we needed. We needed that, and I absolutely love that there were so many people out there who were offering like free stuff.
Well, okay, talking about that, just a big reference on the news. We've had a live, the first live event for about 5,000 people, I think, in Liverpool. And I think about 10% were turned away from the door because they were COVID positive.
Okay.
And I think, so I think events are going to be back because obviously they've now experimented with the idea. They're doing lots of research on it. They had about 50 cameras, I think, or 40 cameras up at different places. But it was more of a live event, obviously, music and dance.
Yeah.
But it still was a way of checking how people behave when they've been let out. And I'm sure the powers to be are making notes on how to steer the human sheep, because using terminology like herd immunity, so obviously we're like cattle, so they're watching us like cattle, and they've let us all out again into the field, and there's about 5,000 of us let out in Liverpool, which means events are definitely going to be on soon, because if they're observing the impact of CO2 apparently as well.
Yeah.
So, which is good news, isn't it? Really, and I think the parks and stuff have opened up in Wales. You got we have the parks and the restaurants and everything open up in Wales. Got that going on. Yes. So we have the Welsh unlocking their public areas. So that's good news. A big shout out before we continue. Big shout out. We've got Kath, Rajesh, John. We've got Deborah and we've got Hazel. The lovely Sonia, and we've got Mandy as well. So Mandy's also on. Right, okay. Thank you so much for listening, as usual. Lovely following. Okay, so if I was gonna say anything, I would say you become a bit of a motivational. I know you do it as a. Is it a business? Is it something that comes with the territory of being social media? What is it? What is that makes you motivate people now? What is it that makes you? Are you a bit like the Tony Robbins of West Midlands?
I wouldn't go that. I understand. That when I was rock bottom, I the motivation. I needed somebody there to guide me. I needed somebody there to pump me up. I needed somebody to pick me up. And I understand that other people need it at this time. So I obviously do it as a regular thing daily on my own news feed or my own posts or whatever.
So you got a news feed as well. Wow, you're okay. So you're a bit of a news reader as well.
No, I mean on Facebook on my news
So what type of stuff do you do on your news feed then, or on your?
It's
you
more
got a channel or something? What have you got then on Facebook? What do you use? Is it a channel?
No. I don't have anything. It's just like on my story on Facebook, and then obviously you have your posts, yeah. But I've understood that. I've even won an award. I won an award back in 2019.
Was that a beauty pageant award? Was it or
best inspirational speaker?
Inspirational speaker, excellent. Talking of awards, just not to deviate, we've got Kath Lock on, who was on last week, I think Friday, or last Monday, I can't remember. Friday, that's right. And she was of the last 6 contestants in a what's it now, a contest that's out in Redcar with a Mr. I forgot the gentleman, I keep forgetting his name. But he's a property guru in that neck of the woods. Okay. And from I think a good few thousand people, she's been whittled down, and she is now the last 3, which is good news. And I think she obviously got a bit of a boost from coming onto our show, and got lots of people who. Stephen Green, that's right, Stephen Green. So big shout out to Kath. Thank you for watching us. Congratulations to the last 3. Very exciting. And she's also, again, someone from the National Health, I think, because she's also occupational therapy. I think that's right. So I think across the country, one thing I've noted, and it may just be coincidental, but a lot of people come on our show, people who've spoken, people who've got, like Mandy as well. She also NHS. A lot of people were in the health service, and I think it speaks a lot for the health service in terms of the type of training you get, the type of situations you're put into, prepares you possibly more for trauma. I'm not sure. Is that a statement that I can make? Is that something that can be verified by you? Tell me, Normie. Is that something that you would say is?
Okay, so with right, I've got a lot of trauma from my past, but the thing is, the reason I was still upset about it because I hadn't removed the emotion from it, and because every time I used to think about it, I used to obviously get upset. So what I did is I had the emotion removed from the event.
Okay, how did you do that?
Okay, so I'm an NLP trainer as well. So I'm an NLP trainer as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Back in 2017, I wasn't an NLP practitioner, and I went to an NLP practitioner, and obviously I got the emotion removed. And because it had worked for me, I then wanted to do it for other people, right? So I then.
Wow. Can you tell us then? Because this is exciting stuff. I need to have you on once more. I'm not getting I think I can't get enough of you. So tell me, how do you get emotion removed? How does that work?
It's a technique that you have to use, and it's through NLP, and it basically where I get you on the timeline. Go back into your event, and then I remove the emotion, and it's a timeline therapy, and it's done through NLP, and I can do that now, and I've done it for I've done it for my own children. I've used it with my own children.
Wow.
I've used it basically with my friends, with
okay, tell me, right, I've got a trauma. How are you going to remove, I mean, how does it work? Is it that I have to submit? Do I have to accept that you're going to remove it? Has there going to be a mental acceptance of something before that happens? Or can you just sort of like, I'm talking to you and you're just doing snap like that, and I'm in a trance, you've taken it out, thrown it away, and then I've just become a better person? How does it work?
That's basically what trauma.
Wow.
The emotion of trauma. So now I can talk about my past, like I've spoken about my past. And before 2017, I would basically be in tears. But now I can talk about it and I'm fine. Okay, so it's like telling a story. So because all the emotion has been removed, I don't feel sad anymore. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's part of I think, again, you have to, people think it's about forgiving the other person, or the person who obviously did bad to you, or did, or who basically has wronged you. It's never person, it's about you. You have to forgive yourself, right? You have to forgive yourself for being in that position. You have to forgive yourself for not taking a better decision for yourself. And that's it. And I forgave myself 4 years ago for what had happened. And now,
so you forgive yourself. Is that one of the underlying keys to removing trauma?
Yeah, that's part of it. But then you have to remove the emotion, and there's so many different ways. But it's about being around positive people as well. You have to be around people who uplift you, not who put you down.
Okay, excellent. Well, what about if in your past, when you were in your negative environment, let's suppose, or in your trauma or that bad experience, there were people who were good around you, but you can't see the wood from the trees, you can't see goodness, because the person who may have been the one who took you through that, you see them as part of the negative past. How do you differentiate between a good person from the negative past and a negative person from the negative past? How do you do that?
Okay, so you have to basically uplift you. If a person you, if a person is uplifting you and obviously trying to get you to a better place, be around, right? I understand very well, and I've done it for myself as well, where we have people in our own circle, right? Our families, our friends, basically who are not good for us. They're not. And I learned this from I don't know if people on here know Dan Pena, right? He's a multi-trillionaire, right? And I follow him as well. Dan Pena, he speaks so much sense, and he goes, I was in Mexico and I knew that if I wanted to be successful, I needed to move away from my family. Right?
So he's Mexican, was he? He's Mexican. Right, so he moved away from Mexico.
He's from Mexico.
And then he went out. So he was in like a very close-knit family like Mexicans are.
Yeah.
And he had to get out of that. Is that what he says?
Yes. So he left. So he had to leave. And now look at him. He's a trillionaire, right? Now, this is what we need to understand. Sometimes the people around us are not good for us. They're not. They're going to keep us here, but where we really want to be is here. But if we want to get to here, you have to move away from the people who are keeping you here. And that is the hardest thing, because they're your family, they're your friends, they've been around you all, most of your life, and it's hard to move away.
How do you? Okay, this is a question then. Okay, because this is going to give a lot of people food for thought. How do you distinguish between a person who is keeping you there or a person who is actually telling you what you're doing wrong to make you get to there? What's the difference? Because this is what I was saying to you, that maybe when you're in your trauma, there are people in life in that zone who are actually good for you. They've actually helped you grow, but in that environment, you see them as part of the negativity around you, and you can't see the wood from the trees. How do you distinguish that?
So, like I said, 17, that I needed to do different, right? Because whatever I had been doing up until age 43 hadn't worked. Because look at me, I'm at 43, I'm at home, I've got 3 kids to look after, I've got mortgage to pay, and I've got no money coming in. So you've got to be responsible for yourself, right? You've got to.
Okay, so taking responsibility is one of the first things.
Yeah, you've got to be responsible for yourself. You've got to understand.
Do you find a lot of people who are not like that, not taking responsibility for themselves, are the ones who are a bit delusional?
Yes. Yeah. It's like everything is everybody else's fault.
Everything is everybody else. Right, okay. That sounds like somebody I know. Yes. And where does that come from then? Come on then. Let's get, because this is going to help somebody I know. Because I'm going to tell them, do you know, I've had a consultation with someone this morning, and they say that everything you're doing is somebody else's fault. But why are they doing that? Can you understand that? Can you give us some insight?
Not everybody else's fault. Nobody's put a gun to your head and made you do that. You made that decision yourself. Okay, so the sooner that people own up to their life and their decisions and their environment and their circumstances, your circumstances are an outlay of your thoughts. You are in circumstance because that's what you think you deserve. Okay, once you feel that you deserve something better, you will have something better. Okay, it's never about, like I said, it's never about your circumstances. It's how you deal with it, right? And it's never anybody else's fault. It's your fault. And the sooner you own up to that, the sooner you have a better life. And people, one thing I've understood about people thrive around attention. Okay, all these social media, all these likes and comments, that's all attention. People thrive around that, right?
Okay, so you're saying a lot of people who are on social media
Yeah.
are attention seekers. They want gratification or they want acceptance.
I'm not saying that, because social media is important. What I'm saying is people thrive on attention, whether it's negative or whether it's positive. Attention is attention, right?
Well, what does that mean? Does that mean like someone ringing you up and asking, how are you? What's happening? Or is that like, look what he's doing?
When people are out there and they're moaning about their life, oh, I'm not happy, I'm not this, I'm miserable, I hate my job, my mother-in-law is doing my head in, whatever it is, right? They've got the next person listening to them, right? I will listen to somebody once, okay? I will give the person once, and then give them the solution. I will expect them to go away and create a solution. And if a month later or 2 months later, whenever they come back to me and they come back and they're singing from the same hymn sheet, I won't listen again. I'm saying you came to me a month ago, and I allowed you an hour of my time, and I listened to all your problems, and I then spent another hour of my time and I gave you the solution, and you've gone away and you've done nothing. I'm not going to give you any more time.
So is it a mix of being cruel to be kind? Is that what we can call it? You know, when someone needs you, like they need you, like they need their drug or their fix, they need their drink or their little, their there's substance. They need you now, and for you to make that change, there's got to be an incremental push towards them taking responsibility for their actions. Is that the way you do it?
Yes. At the end of the day,
Excellent.
you can't. It's a bit like, okay, so I had this discussion 2 nights ago with my friend, and
Okay.
she was asking the same thing. She's going, "Oh, how come you're doing so well?" and blah blah blah. And I says, "Well, okay.
How come you're doing so well? Well, we obviously know how you're doing so well. You're a wonderful person. You've got lots of knowledge, and you're sharing them, and sharing is caring."
Yeah. And I said to her, "You have a job, yeah, which you've been doing for over 20 years now. Now you've got, and it's the same job. Now, do you go to that job day to day, doing the same thing, expecting a different result at the end of the day?" She goes, "No." I says, "There you go." I said, "That's the scenario right here." I says, "I wanted something different, so I did something different. I did something different, so I got a different result." I says, "You go and work day in, day out, doing the same job, seeing the same clients and whatever, and you're getting the same result every day at 5 o'clock, you're getting the same result. Am I right?" She goes, "Yes." And I says, "Well, you can't expect to do the same old, and expect a different result. If you want a different result at the end
But
of the
isn't that, don't they call that a sign of insanity or madness?
day." Yeah,
When you do the same thing
yeah,
repeatedly, expecting something new,
yeah.
and you keep getting the same result, then it's obviously a sign of insanity or madness. Is that right?
Like I said, and then she got it. Then she understood. She actually understood what I meant. And I said, "Well, if you want to make the sort of money that I'm making, then you've got to do."
Mm-hmm.
And I actually signed her up. I signed her up to the Forex thing. On
Wow.
Was it Saturday night? Saturday night. I signed her up to the Forex thing. No, sorry.
Wow.
So do you understand where I'm coming from now? It's like
Yeah, that's it. I mean, okay, it's a mix of being cruel to be kind as well to
yeah,
some extent. You give somebody a little bit of the normal drug, they get that, and they come back for a bit more. They say, "Come on, give me another dose," and you say, "No, you can't have any now.
yeah.
You need to pay for it." You know, "No, come on, please, one more dose. Come on, man, you don't understand my life." And you say, "No, but the problem is, you are weak yourself. That's why you keep coming back for more. Now you will have to pay for your fix."
Step up.
Is that the way it works? You need to work for your fix?
It's like Tony Robbins says, you have to step up. You have to step up. And you can't, like I said, I
Step up.
you have to step up. You have to step up your game. Why do they say
You,
your game? It Step up your life, step up your game. It's the same thing. You have to step, right? You have to come out of your comfort zone. You need to start going into stuff that scares the shit out of you. And that's exactly what I mean. You have to go and do what scares the shit out of you, right? Because that's where you're gonna grow. That's where you're gonna get better.
okay, so it's a bit like saying something scares the shit out of you, and
Yeah,
you use that as compost to make you grow better.
yeah.
So you say that you're like a plant
Yeah.
fertilizing itself. Is that right?
You have to constantly keep growing to get
Yeah.
better day in, day out.
So to
Grow.
get better and to step up, you need to look at yourself as a bit of like a plant that grows with its own fertilizer.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. My dad used to say something to me when I was younger, and he goes, "Slow and steady wins the race." Right? He's so right. When I was younger, I just wanted and wanted and wanted, and I wanted it quick and fast, right? And it's the same with these like get rich quick schemes and all of that out there, right? It don't work. It doesn't work, right? You've got
Mm-hmm.
to do constant actions daily to get to where you want, right? You've got to get better daily. You've got to do a little bit more daily to get to where
Okay,
you.
I've got something that's coming. I'm sure Mr. Singh is going to love what you've got to say. And I think what we can try and arrange is for you to do at least one motivational webinar or a speech on the RAC platform, because there's lots of people joining there who are basically lost in terms of they're just fallen into it, but they're not quite sure. They're still just sort of like fumbling around trying to work out how do we do this. And I think someone like you would be an excellent person to give these people direction and motivation. We're in the last minute, are we? Seconds. Right, Norway, give us your take on this year now. What do you see is happening? You've got the Liverpool party that's opened up. You know, that's all just opening up the doors to events. The parks are opening up. The restaurants are opening up in sunny Wales.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen this year? Do you think we're all going to be out of complete lockdown by September, October?
Don't be too surprised if we get another lockdown this year. Okay?
Wow.
That's
good.
All
okay.
That's all.
Okay, that makes sense. Right.
And you're not prepared. Like I said, I've made a lot of money in the last year in cryptocurrency and forex, right?
Yeah.
Need any help with that, I can help you get into that. It's very easy, right? But what I'm going to say is we are going to have another lockdown. I don't know when it's going to be, right? Because I've heard and I know a lot of people in NHS and stuff. And it's not going to be as severe as obviously what we've already had, because obviously they're rolling out the vaccines and whatever, right? But we are going to have a lockdown, right? And if nothing, like I said at the beginning of the show, if the pandemic has taught you nothing, if the pandemic has not taught you that you need to start making money online, right? And stop looking for this 9-to-5 job, because they ain't out there. There's no jobs out there for you to have, right?
Wow. Hardcore.
If you get a job, it'll be working from home. And if you still haven't learned how to work from home and work online, right, then you clearly have learned nothing from this year. Right?
Wow.
So much money.
Wow. Shocking stuff. Hard stuff there. I think you're a bit like you're definitely for me, you're a female Tony Robinsons, I can call you. But, you know, you're wonderful. I think lots of important things there, down to earth, bottom line, telling people how to get up and step up. That's right, step up. And we're all like little pods with our own fertilizers. And if something doesn't take the fertilizer out of us, then we're not doing the right thing. We're in the wrong company. So, Norma, thank you so much for your time. I would love to. I think we're going to have you on again because you're excellent. You've got a breath of fresh air in you, and we should have you on, and we should get you to, because you will be excellent for people who are trying to find their way. And I think there's only benefit in having you on. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, I just wanted to say last thing. Basically, I'm Normie Rose on Facebook. I'm Normie Rose on Instagram, and I'm Normie Rose on LinkedIn if you want to connect with me.
Excellent, right. And we were going to ask you to appear on a couple of others. We have other side shows as well, which are about property and stuff. So if there's anything that we could probably have you on there as a guest as well. So it would be excellent to see you with your other hat on. And I think you understand you're into property as well. Is that right?
I'm not yet.
But you're getting into it. So we may have you as a test pilot. We'll have you on as that person who's going to tell people, look, this is how I made it in property, how I became a millionairess in property. Take care. Love your conversation, and having to leave you. We shall see you again, Nomi. Thank you so much.